Hi everybody, it's Audrey. Thank you so much for stopping by my channel today. I have something so exciting to share. I have been asked to be a part of Paige Taylor Evans' new silhouette store design team. Here are some of the samples of her cut files she has available now in the Silhouette store, so I'll link those below. So I'm super excited to be a part of this small team and work with her cut files for the next couple months. So I am working with one of the cut files from one of her new cut files called the Cloud Trio, which you can find in the store and I'll link below. And you'll notice I am using a new version of Silhouette Studio, which I just downloaded and I'm just learning to play around with. So all the buttons are there. They're just like, they look different and they're in different places. So it took a little bit of learning to get things right here. So I opened the file, I traced it, and instead of kind of using these as clouds, I'm going to use them as flourishes, kind of like flourishes. I mean, I guess they still kind of look like clouds too, but so I have 4 small photos that I'm using, and there are the 3 clouds. So I traced them, and I'm going to arrange them here above and below my photos. You can see I drew 4 boxes that were the size of my photos that I printed. My photos are about 2 3/4 by 2 1/4. And I am just kind of arranging these clouds. I am mirroring some of them. That's hard to say. Mirroring some of them and flipping them horizontally so that they don't go the same direction. Just so they're backwards on the horizontal plane. Just so that when I have them lined up on the top and the bottom, you know, they don't look the exact same shape. They're kind of backwards. They're mirrored. So I cut out a whole bunch of those, and after you saw me there in the Silhouette Design Studio, once I had them arranged how I wanted and kind of designed my page, I rearranged them so that they would be able to cut on the paper. And I deleted the shapes that were my photos there. And so I cut out a whole bunch of them, and I'm going to start playing around with them on my paper. And I really like using Silhouette, the design software, to kind of design my page, because when I actually sit down to do it, it just is so much easier and goes so much faster. So this background piece of paper is from Paige's Fancy Free collection. And I'm going to use little bits from a whole bunch of her different collections here. I have the Fancy Free and Turn the Page and Oh My Heart and what else do I have? Is that all of them? I'm not sure. I think I'm not sure if I use anymore. Anyway, I'm going through some scraps and some 6x6 paper pads and these sheets, which I love, which have the little 2x2 squares, and they are perfect for a project like this where you're going to fill in the background cutouts, the small shapes with a pattern paper. I want this to be really colorful. I was at first thinking that maybe I wanted to stick with kind of a cool tone, like maybe use kind of all blues, because they are cloud shapes. But I decided to go ahead and just make this really colorful so that they don't necessarily look like clouds. It just looks like a fun bunch of colorful shapes. I am not going to show you me backing every single shape here, but you basically get the idea. So the way I do this is I start with one shape and I fill in a circle, and then I go to another one of the cutouts and fill in a circle there, and I kind of like stagger which one I am filling up and putting paper behind, because I'm trying to get a visual of how my colors are spread out. I'm also trying to combine more solid tone-on-tone patterns with some of the busier patterns, and I'm trying to use a smaller scale pattern as well, because these shapes, the inside of these shapes are kind of small, so you don't want a huge pattern. You want to be able to see the pattern. So that's why the 6x6 paper pads and these little 2x2 square cutout papers work very well, because the patterns are much smaller scale. So like I said, I'm just kind of going back and forth between these different ones and picking out colors that match and trying to balance the distribution of the colors and create visual triangles. So you can see I got all those done. It took me a good 45 minutes, I think, to back all of those. And although I am pretty picky about my colors and paper selection, so everything takes me longer. And I wanted to, especially behind my photo, I wanted to kind of lighten the color here. So I added some gesso, and at first I painted on with a paintbrush, and I thought, you know what, because I'm kind of going with this cloudy cloud file, I'm just going to use my fingers to kind of smear the gesso around in circles to make it kind of look wispy and not have the brush strokes. So I dried that with my heat gun, and that softened up the background a little bit, and I'm going to add some blue and some, well, it's teal and citron Heidi Swap Color Shine, and again go through and dry those as well. And now I'm going to start placing my things back on. So I have my 4 photos here of the kiddos playing at the playground, and I journal in this. It's funny because we've been going to this playground for a very long time, and it's funny how as my kids get bigger, the playground seems to have gotten smaller. It just, when they're little, it's just so huge and you're chasing them all over the place, and then they're bigger and they're running through it like, in 2 seconds, and it's just, I don't know, it makes you realize that they're growing up so fast. But anyway, a fun day at the playground, one of our favorite places to go in the summer. So I arranged everything there. I was thinking about maybe popping up some of the cloud files and leaving others kind of on the bottom, but I know I was going to add some other embellishments, so I decided to leave the clouds flat. Going through some of the products I remembered from this from the Oh My Heart collection. In this is the 12 by 12 paper pack. It actually has die cuts in it that are in the 12 by 12 pack, which is pretty cool. And I found this one, well, first I picked out the little you and me frame and I put that over one of my photos, but I didn't really like, the you and the me didn't stand out very well. So I found this heart one and I really liked the shape of that. I liked how it brought some white in and kind of drew your eye to that photo, and connected the top to the bottom, so it overlaps the clouds a little bit. So then I'm just going through and picking out some embellishments as well. The little chipboard hearts I picked out there, and actually all the little chipboard pieces are from the Take Me Away collection, from that chipboard sheet. And I'm just trying to find some phrases that kind of go along with it, and I don't want to add too much stuff because it's already very busy with all the patterns I have in there. So these thicker, or I guess, are they thickers? I guess they are thickers, are from the Oh My Heart collection. And the colors kind of match well, of course I use some of the Oh My Heart papers in the clouds, so of course the colors match. But I really like the purple, and you can see I have the purple, if you look closely, I have it arranged in kind of a visual triangle, so I like having the purple there. I was just going through some other die cuts and stuff and packs and seeing what else I wanted to use, and as I was doing that, I was thinking to myself, okay, you know what, I've already got a lot going on. I really don't want to put too much more on here because it's just going to get kind of a muddled mess. I do want to add something else though to the clouds to kind of make it, to kind of add some interest among the clouds. So I went through some enamel shapes, and then I pulled out these buttons, which I happen to have 2 packs of, and I don't really use buttons much at all. And I thought, let me use these up because I like the dimension they add. I like that they add a little bit of height to the page, and some depth. And I'm going to kind of place them kind of in that vertical plane, that up and down plane, in line with my photo that has the heart around it. So I'm not going to scatter them all over. I'm going to try to keep my focus in that up and down plane of my photo with the heart and the title and the other little clusters of embellishments. So yeah, those are super cute. So I was debating on the red button because I really don't have much other red items on the page, and there was a bright pink button, but I liked the red better. There is a little red flower in that enamel shape near the heart photo, and then so I fussy cut out a little tiny butterfly, and that's from the Turn the Page collection, Paige's new collection, and placed it up there too to kind of help spread that red color around. It's not as bright red as the button and the flower, the little butterfly, and I have considered coloring it in a little bit more red, but it's fine. Okay, so now I'm going to glue these clouds down, and I'm just going to try to lift them up a little bit to glue them down, and then I'm adding the glue underneath them because I really don't want to take everything off because I hate when I do that and then I don't put it back in the exact same spot and I glue it down and I think that's not where I wanted it. But so I just, most of the time I just am trying to lift these up and not move them around too much. I am going to take this stuff off though because I know where that cluster is. I know what it's going to look like, and I wanted to play around with my buttons, and I have to pop up my photos a little bit. So with my buttons, I know a lot of people say you can't leave a plain button on a page. You've got to put some thread through it. I don't really follow that rule all the time, but in this case, I definitely wanted to add some thread to the buttons, again, just to add a little bit more interest. I am going to use the same color twine. It's kind of a citron green twine that goes along with the background paper, and I'm not going to make you watch me thread every single button here because it takes me a while. They all came with little like pop dots on the back of them already, so they had some adhesive on them. So I had to take the adhesive off of each button to put the twine through and then put new adhesive on the back, which is a little bit of a pain, but it's all in the name of design, I guess. And I had to tie that little teeny tiny bow on that red button too. So yeah, it took me a little bit of time to do this. Okay, so the buttons are done, and I wanted to highlight that heart a little bit more over my photo. So I went to my machine and I used some teal thread, and I stitched the outline of that heart. And then I had considered matting the photos on a piece of pattern paper, but I didn't really count for that when I glued my clouds down. So adding a piece of paper behind the photos was going to kind of make them overlap the clouds, and I didn't want that to happen. I also kind of liked just how the photos were standing out with just their white border. So to add something to the background, I took these mixed media sheets from ThermoWeb, which are just like a thin interfacing, and I tore the edges to just kind of rough them up a little bit, and just to soften the background and put some type of something behind all of the photos that kind of tied them all together to make them look like that they were grouped together. And by the way, when I use that those mixed media sheets, I have to use a tape runner because I don't think liquid glue works very well on them because it is kind of like a fabric and it kind of just seeps through. So the tape runners work much better with those sheets. Okay, so I added some craft foam to behind my photos, and I'm going to go ahead and glue this heart down over my focus photo there. And kind of for the same reasoning that I just mentioned with the mixed media sheets, I use a tape runner also with the craft foam, again because I have a hard time getting liquid glue to stick to the craft foam. It kind of soaks into the foam when you use a liquid glue, but I think the tape runners stick a little bit better. I have been learning my lesson lately about trusting the stickiness of chipboard shapes, which I just don't anymore. So I make sure to add glue to all of my chipboard shapes, even if they do have adhesive on them, because they for some reason just don't tend to stick very well. Made this little cluster here. By the way, that little circle that says more fun was cut out from a piece of pattern paper in the, what collection? Oh, my heart collection that I had cut out a long time ago for another layout that I didn't end up using, and it was just in the bag, and I thought it was perfect for this page. I'm making a little cluster of labels at the top like I often do with my photos, and that is about it. So here is the finished page. And you can see that I have moved the title that said play over to my photos. So I actually placed the title on my photos, and I liked that a lot better because it was kind of drawing away from the design down there in the bottom left. So those are the little details. Thank you so much for watching and stopping by. So excited about this new opportunity. Please go check out Paige's cut files in the Silhouette Design Store. I think you'll love them, and stay tuned because I will have another page coming up with her cut files very shortly. Thanks so much. Have a great day. See you soon.